Hello, welcome to episode 41 in the Datapack tutorial series. We are going to be doing part 2 of the villager dialogue, where we're going to add the components so the villagers can do extra things. This is continuing directly on from where we left off. So we have Bob, Noodle and Julahu, and we're going to add. So we're going to add components so he can hold an item, maybe display a particle, run a command, all sorts of extra stuff to make them a bit more interactive and fun. Okay, let's get straight on. Now I'm going to go into where we left off. Now you'll see I have changed the tutorial number to 41, but I've kept the namespace as 40 just so I didn't have to change all the stuff inside. You can do a search and replace, but I didn't. I wanted this just to stay the same as where we left off. So I think I'm going to add a load of files first. Files and folders. Okay, so let's go into dialogue. So at the moment we've got dialogue controllers, and let's add into dialogue a new folder, and I'm going to call it component. And inside component I will add some new files. So first we'll have a file for running a command run. And we'll add some for dialogue options. So we'll have a dialogue options display and a dialogue options. I want to initialize it, so dialogue options init. And we don't know how many dialogue options they're going to have, so we're going to have to loop through them. I've put a new folder by mistake. I wanted a new file. So I'm also going to have a dialogue options loop. Okay. I want a component that's going to display an item. That's going to make them hold an item in their hand. I'll just call that item display. I want to be able to display a particle above their head, so maybe you give them an item and they show some little hearts or something. So let's call that particle display. Now, since one of our components is going to be run a command, we could probably do item display and particle display and all that stuff anyway, just by running a command. Because the command they run could run a function, which could do pretty much anything. But we're setting up some components to make things a little bit easier for ourselves. Let's add another one, new file that will play a sound. And let's make one more component that will set the progress of another NPC. So we'll do set progress. So this will be similar to the loop function where we're setting their own progress, but this is going to set the progress of a different NPC. Okay, so we've added a load of files to store our commands for our components. Now let's also go to NPC, and some of the NPCs are going to be able to run functions because we've got command run. The command they run might be a function. I think it'd be nice if we have a separate folder to keep all those. We're only going to do one example, but imagine if you had 20 or 30. It'd be nice to keep them in their own place. I will put that inside dialogue as well. So in dialogue we will have component controllers. Let's make a new folder, which I will call NPC function. And in there I'm going to make one, and it's going to be for Noodle, and he's going to check if we give him a potato. I'm going to call it Noodle potato check. So in NPC function, you might want another folder. You might want one called Noodle, and then one for Bob, and one up to you how you lay out your folders. And let me just rename this because I didn't put the extension at the end. There we go. So we've got some NPC functions that are going to run in there. And I also want a response controller, which is going to control how we respond when they give us some options. These will all make more sense as we go through things. Let's do a new folder here, and we'll call it, I suppose response would be a good enough name. And in there, we'll have 3 new files. We'll have npc response check. And what I'm going to copy and paste that one twice. So we've got npc response check. We'll have npc response ID match. This is going to check whether the answer matches the question. We don't want them answering different questions. Again, make more sense as we do it. And we'll have npc response macro. Okay, let's shrink that down as well. Let's shrink that down. Okay. We're also going to need an item modifier. So that is going to go in my namespace. Let's shrink down advancement. Let's shrink down function. No, we'll leave function. In my namespace, new folder, item modifier. So there we go. And in there, I'm going to have a modifier which will remove 1 from a stack of items. And do you know what? I think we're going to start by doing that. I think we'll make that first because we're going to use it later. So here, let's make a new file and call it remove 1 from stack.json. And we'll just make this one ourselves because it's not a very complicated one. We'll open our curlies. We'll have a function. Sorry, it didn't like me doing that. Function. And our function will be Minecraft set count. Can we see it there? Set count. There it is. Comma. And we'll have a count. And the count will be -1. And what are we going to do with that -1? We're going to add it. True. Okay, what mistake have I made? I have not put a comma after this second entry. There we go. So we're going to set the count. What we're going to do is, let's say they have 64 items. We're going to add -1. So they'll have 63 items. Okay, let's save that. And let's close down all these windows we now got open. Right. Now I'm going to try and do this in an order which kind of makes sense. I'm going to try and add 1 component at a time. Hopefully that is going to be the best way to do it. I think we'll start with our storage data reset. Whoever knows where that might be, it's in admin. And we have storage data reset. So we're currently resetting their dialog options and a few of these temporary things. I've got a load more temporary things I'm going to need to reset. So I'm going to copy this beginning bit. Copy. I'm going to reset the item. So that'll be used for what item they're holding. I'm going to reset particle. That's going to be what particle they're displaying. I'm going to reset play sound. You know that's going to be the sound they're playing. And then we have the set progress. That's for when they're setting another NPC's progress. And we'll have option response ID and option data. So that's going to be when we're talking to them and they're giving us some options. Would you like a quest? Yes, no. Okay. And also for when they're running a command, we'll have the command. And was the command successful? We'll reset that as well. Okay. So later on, as I'm doing, I'm making the components, you'll notice that I'll be using all these different things. I'll be using item, particle, play sound, and I've just set it up now so that at least they're being reset when we're doing testing. Let's close that. Okay. Now I think the first one we're going to do, I'm going to start with the hardest first. Why not? And I think probably the hardest is responses. So they say something to us and give us a choice. So let's go into storage data setup. And here we have Julahu. Okay, Julahu, well, he's looping on 0. Let's take that off. We don't want you doing that, Julahu. Would you like a quest? Right, here. We want a yes or no sort of option. So we'll still loop to 0, because if we don't answer, we want him to go back round. Let's add a new component. And I'm going to call it an option component. And in my option component, I will have 2 entries. 1, 2. My first entry will have some text. And the text will be no. Okay. Okay, why are you not happy? Expected a key. That is my key. Ah, I've put curly brackets here. Since I'm having a list, these should be square brackets. There we go, and that looks like it's an extra bracket for some reason. Now, what's your problem? Expected. Well, that should go at the end. There. Okay, sorry about that. So we've got option, open square brackets. Inside will be 1 option, 2 options. Close our option component. Close our first brackets. Okay, so first one. Text no. Let's give it a color as well. Color. Let's say red. And if they do click on this, where are we going to move to? Where are we going to loop to? And we'll say we'll go to 3. So we'll put a go to 3. We don't have a 3 at the moment. We have text entry 0, 1, 2. So we don't have a 3. So we'll have to make a 3 in a minute. And I'm going to copy all of that. Copy and paste it into the second one. And I'm going to change this to a yes. Let's make yes green. And if they say yes, then we'll go to, I suppose, 4. 4? Not 43, 4. Okay, and I'm going to give that an option ID. So there's got 2 components we're adding there, option ID, and we'll call it 0. Everyone has to have a different ID, so even if it's sort of Julahu again, we would want a different ID. Or if it's another, basically each ID is different. If you ever put option ID, it must be a different one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to display these, and the way I'm doing it, it displays them backwards. So first it's going to say yes in green, and if we click on yes, it's going to jump to entry number 4, and then it's going to display no in red, and if we click on no, it's going to jump to entry number 3. Okay, so let's grab one of these, copy, and let's give them an entry 3 and an entry 4. What I'd like to do here is just say, let's say these are entries 0 to 2. This is going to be entry 3. And this will be entry 4. Okay, entry 3. So if you say no, it's going to jump here. And let's just say, that's a shame. We don't want him to stuck saying that forever. So we will loop back to 0 as well. But we also have to add this option ID. This answer is going with this question. So I'm going to add the option ID. And I'm going to say loop to 0. So, I am Julahu. Are you busy? Would you like a quest? And it will display yes or no. If I click on no, no, it will jump to that's a shame, and then loop to 0. So back to I'm Julahu. Are you busy? Would you like a quest? Okay, let's do if we say yes. So if we say yes, we will say great. Great. And then we could loop off to somewhere else. I'm just going to, first of all, option ID. Copy. So our questions has the ID of 0, and any of our, where we end up as responses have the ID of 0. Now this is really to stop, imagine one NPC had multiple questions. So you might go to, would you like a quest? Yes, I would. Great. Do you like fighting or do you like puzzles? Oh, well, I like puzzles. And now in your chat, you've got 2 questions that you could answer. So you might be standing in front of him and he might be saying, do you like puzzles? And you scroll up and you click on the answer for would you like a quest? And you could probably ruin it. So what it's doing here is just going, well, I make sure that I jump to the right response to the right question. That's what we're going to be using that for. Okay, we might as well make him loop back to 0 as well. So even if you do say yes, he's still going to loop back to 0. Okay. And we'll leave that open because we'll be doing some modifications in this. Right. Let's pop over to load. I'm going to need some things in here. We will need to make a trigger because only sort of opt players can run commands in chat. So this is going to have to run a trigger. So scoreboard, objectives, add, and it's going to be part of the option. So we call it NPC option. It's your response, and it'll be a trigger. And I want to be able to save the ID as well. So scoreboard, objectives, add, NPC option ID. We'll set that ourselves. That's just going to be a dummy. We'll save that. That's load done. Doink. Okay. Now, where do we want to go? I suppose we want to check for that component. So let's go into dialog controllers, dialog init. In here, we're going to want. We're already doing a check for a loop component, so we're going to add a new check, and this is going to be checking if there's an option component. So after we've displayed the message, let's do check for option component, and we will. Well, we have to get the current message, so we'll set it up like we normally do. We'll just pretend it's Bob's first message. So we'll execute if data storage IDYT dialog Bob 0 dot option run function. We want to initialize the options dialog. Oh well, we can't see it. I think it's probably the second one. Dialog options init. Yep. Now we also want to run that with storage dialog. Okay, so that if there is an option on Bob 0, that will run. But obviously we might not be talking to Bob and it might not be his first message. So we're going to grab the thing we normally use down here where we're using the macro for NPC and player progress, and we'll swap Bob out for that. Now it's unhappy because it doesn't. So why have you put $signs in there? And at the beginning we put another $sign. You are using macro data. Okay, check for an option component. So Julihu's got one on his third piece of text. Let's see. 0, 1, 2. There is an option component. So when we get there, dialog should find it and it will run dialog options init. Let's go to dialog options init. And I think we'll just do something simple. Say hi. And save that. Okay. Let's have a little check. Back we go. Right. As usual, this button is just running the reload command. Reload. I'll do it manually first time. From now on, I'll use the button. Okay, Julihu. No, that's Noodle. Hello. Right. Oh, we better reset all the data. Remember in here we are running resetting all our progress and we're resetting the data. So he's going to say, I am Julihu again. I am Julihu. Are you busy? Would you like a quest? Hi. So he's detected the option component and it's moved over and run that function. Okay. Well done, Julu. Well, say hi is a bit pointless. That's not what we want to do. What do we want to do in here? First thing, we want to enable the response trigger. Let's do that. Enable trigger. Want to clear any existing data. Clear option data. We want to copy copying the new option component to storage, to storage. What are we doing after that? After that, we will copy the option ID. Copy option ID. And after that, we will run a loop to go through all the options. Run option loop. Okay, let's enable the trigger. Scoreboard, players, enable, @s, NPC option response. Done. They can now use the trigger. Clear the option data. Data, remove from storage, dialog, and we're storing it in option data. And remember, in the reset, we are resetting that. I'll say that a few times, but let's just have a look for this one. Storage data reset. Here we go. We are resetting option data. Okay. That seems all right. Now we need to copy the option component. So we'll do a data modify storage dialog option data. I'm going to call this option data raw. We're just copying in as it is. Set from storage. And here we're going to do our Bob 0 dot option. Okay, well, it might not be Bob 0. So if we go to dialog init, we can copy out what we normally use. Copy. There we go. Any NPC and current progress for that NPC. Pop that in there. Now we need to copy the option ID. Execute, store, result as a score @s, NPC option ID, run data, get from storage, and let's do Bob 0 again, and we're getting it from option ID. Turn that into using stored data for current NPC progress. Put our little $sign at the beginning. And now we need to run the option loop. Function dialog options loop. Okay. That seems all right. So, enable the trigger so they can respond to the chat. Clear the current option data, store some option data, copy the option ID, and enter into the dialog options loop. Save that. Let's go off to dialog options loop. In here, we want to extract the message color, and the go-to ID. So we will extract the message, extract the color, extract the go-to ID. Then we want to display the option. Display option. We want to. So this will display the last option in the list. Then, since we've displayed it, we want to remove that option. Remove displayed option. And, well, then if there's any options left, we repeat. Repeat if any options left. Okay, so let's extract the message. Data, modify, storage, dialog, option, data dot text set from storage, i.e. dialog, option, data, and we saved it into raw, and we want the last element in the list -1 dot text. So that will extract the message. So what we're doing is we're going to option data dot raw. In option data dot raw we saved this, and it's going into the last one, so it's going to this one, and it's extracting the text. So now we're going to extract the color and the go to. So what we'll do, actually, we'll just copy that, paste that in there, copy that, paste that in there. So we won't save this one to text, we'll save this one to color, and we'll get it from color. And we'll save this one to, I suppose, probably call it go to, and we'll get it from go to. Okay, now we want to display that option. Execute as any entity, type equals villager, tag equals ID NPC, distance equals less than 3 at that villager, run function dialog options display. These are quite long, but we have dialog options init, loop, and display, so display is going to be the first in the list alphabetically. With storage ID dialog option data. Okay, so now this function dialog options display will have access to the option data, and inside option data there will be a go to, there will be a color, and there will be a text, and it will be able to reference them, so that's nice. Now since we've displayed it, let's remove it. Data, remove, storage, dialog, option data, raw, -1, last in the list. And now, are there any options left? If there are, let's run this function again. Execute if data, storage, option data dot raw -1, run function, options loop. So display, loop should be the last one. Save. Okay, so extract the message, extract the color, extract the go-to ID, display the option, remove the option we just displayed. Are there any options left? If so, do this again. Okay. So I suppose next would probably be displaying the option. So let's go and display the option. Right, what do we want to do in here? It's pretty much just display the option. Display option. This will be a macro again, but let's do our standard sort of default, and we'll pretend. Actually, I'm not sure what's easy. I'll tell you what, I'll just start as normal. We'll do a tell raw for all players whose distance equals less than 3. So we're going to have a load of stuff. We're going to have some text. So that will just say, let's fill that one in first, actually. That might be easier. We'll have a bit of text. And this text will just say, I don't know, let's make it clear that it's an option. Option. And let's give it a color then as well. What color would be alright? We don't want it to look like any normal, so we'll just say grey. So we'll say that's grey. Then after that, we want to display our text. So let's open and close another one. We'll say text, and in here I just put a placeholder, current text, and we'll give that a color. Now it's not going to like this because I'm going to put current color, which isn't a real color, so it's complaining at me. Okay, and then after that one we're going to have one more. This one's going to be a click event, so we have two of those, and then we open and close curly brackets. So let's type in here click event. What is the click event? What is your action? My action is to run a command, please. No problem. What is the value of the command you want to run? Or what is the command you want to run? Well, I would like to run a trigger command. I would like to run trigger npc option response set current goto. Okay, so we can see the bits we need to change. We've got our current text, our current color, and our current goto. Now we gave them reasonable names. Let's move init in front of here, and let's go and have a look at. Let's remove init actually, and let's get loop. So we're looking for current text, current color, and current goto. Well, we saved them here. We extracted them, so we know that they're in option data dot text, color, and goto, and we sent the option data to this function, so we can just look for text, color, and goto. That's nice. So let's do a replacement. Current text, well, we know you are stored in text, so we will do $, open and close, text. Color, well, we stored you in color, so $, open and close normal brackets, color. And our current goto was stored inside goto. And of course it's unhappy because it doesn't know yet that it is using stuff from storage. So we will say $, and we'll save that. Bonk. Bonk. Okay, so we are going through. We init, clear everything else out that was there before, go into the loop. Into the loop, we will loop round, extracting the information we need and displaying the data, and then we go into display data and we display it. Okay, so that's probably going to do something. Let's go and have a look and cross our fingers. Reset that. Julahu, I forget your name, I'm very sorry. So we're hoping. I'm Julahu, are you busy? Would you like a quest? I'm Julahu. Well, Julahu, you did nothing. You didn't display anything at all. Why not? Now, this is always the fun bit when you think, well, I've just made so many changes. What on earth am I going to be checking for? I think always a nice quick way is, let's just start with the init. The init should be the one it's running first. Let's look at our dialog init we're looking at here. Check for an option component. And, well, we tried this, and it did run, and it went to dialog init. Or dialog options init. Dialog options init. We did say hi before. Okay. So we'll put a little, I'm just going to put a little here, say init. And I'm going to go to the init one. Oh, I'm going to go to the loop. And just before we repeat, I'm going to do say loop. And I'm going to go to the display. And I put a say display. Save. Back we go. Reload that. Reload that. Now, how far are you getting, Julahu? He's looping init. Okay, so look, he's detected there's two things to display. So let's go to the loop. So our init seemed fine. In our loop, here, he is not ever making it into the options display. Now, have we made a silly mistake? If we just get rid of this, so all it's going to do is say display, is that our mistake? Is our mistake in that command? I don't, yeah, let's reset anyway. Ah, see, now it's saying display. Quite quickly, we've narrowed down. Sometimes it can take a long time. Sometimes it's a little bit quicker. So we've narrowed it down that our problem is in here. What could our problem be? Who knows? What I'd like to do is I think I will copy this command. Copy. And then I will just get that one out. And I will change this text into some valid text. That is valid text. I will change this color into a valid color, red. And I'll change this into a valid number. I'm going to say 5. So is my command sort of formatted? Is the syntax correct? And already I can see that it's not. Here we go. Look, we've got a bracket there that's saying missing at least one key. What are you missing? Who knows what you're missing? So we've got a problem with our click event, which looks fine to me, but let's have click event. So if we remove let's just do a double check. Let's remove the click event completely. X. Save. I mean, that looks fine. It's got no problems. I'm pretty confident that he's just now going to say twice. That's nice. Okay. Thank you for that wise words, Julahu. Let's put this back in. Click event. Action. Why? Missing at least one of the keys. Text. Oh. Our click event is not a separate thing. So we can see here what I've done is I've done a tell raw. And the tell raw has 1 piece of text, 2 pieces of text, 3 pieces of text. I've done the click event as a separate set. It should be contained within this set. So what we want to do is copy the click event itself, like that. Well, I'll cut it actually, cut. So it shouldn't be in there by itself. It should be at the end of this where you click the text. So we'll put comma and we'll put it in there. I make that mistake so often, you think I'd be used to it. Save. Okay. Back just to check the syntax is correct there. Julahu, be good to me. Okay, still working. Nice. Then we'll go back again. What we'll do is we'll turn this one with the correct syntax into using the storage. So copy that. Your text will now be that. Your color will now be, where's your color? Red. That. And your go-to will no longer be 5. It will be that. And we'll say, yes, you are using data. Save that. Pop back. I'm feeling confident. You can tell it in my voice. I'll keep that in. A little bit of troubleshooting. Sometimes helpful. I'm Julahu. Are you busy? Yes. No. Okay. So as I said, remember, he's displayed those in reverse order because we put no first. He's gone from the end of the list to the front. Nice. Okay, let's do a scoreboard. Objectives. Set display to the sidebar. What is he changing? He's changing our response. I think that's the trigger. So if I click on one of these, let's click on yes, it goes to 4. If I click on no, you cannot trigger because we haven't re-enabled the trigger anywhere. If we talk to him again, that will re-enable the trigger. So if we click on no, we go to 3. Okay, so we are changing. Yeah, thank you very much, Julahu. You're doing your job fantastically. Let's clear out those silly little debug things we had in there. Say loop, we don't want that in there anymore. and also in init, I believe we had an init. Okay, so he's offering us suggestions. Now we need to be able to check for his responses, or he needs to check for our response, I suppose. So we're going to need a tick. We don't have a tick. Okay, let's open up Minecraft. Then we've got a load. I'm just going to copy the load. And I'm going to change it to tick. That's our load JSON in our Minecraft tags function file. And tick, well, it's not there yet, but you will be running the tick function. So rather than sort of click on one of where am I going to put it? What I might do is just copy the load again. Copy the load, rename it to tick, and then just clean it out. Okay, what are we going to be doing in the tick function? Let me close all these ones we've got open. Right, load. What? I've renamed the load to tick. Load should stay load, and tick should be tick. I'm glad I spotted that. That would have confused me. There's a little one there. When copying and pasting files. Right, let's get rid of you. Right, tick. What do we want to do? Well, we want to check for player responses. So process player response. We will execute as all players whose scores equal their NPC option response equals, I suppose, 1 or higher. We will run a function. We're getting a lot of functions, not in dialogue. Oh, hey, it was in dialogue. I missed it. Dialogue response. Not controllers. There we go. Dialogue response. Response check. Save. So we're going over to here. So you saw that when we clicked on the yes and the no, it changed our response. So we would now end up here if we clicked on one of those. Okay, right. What do we want to do in here? Well, we want to run a function to select which NPC we're talking to. So select NPC function. Now we want to reset the triggers so we can use them again. Let's reset the triggers first. Scoreboard, players, reset, at S, NPC option response, scoreboard, players, enable, at S, NPC option response. Oh, it's a big S. Okay. Now, here we're going to run a function. Why are we just coming in here and going straight away off to another function? Because this function is going to be a macro function. It will be NPC response macro with storage data. Done. Bye-bye. And we're going off to the macro. Okay. Here we are inside the macro. What are we going to do in here? Exit if you're not close enough. Exit if NPC is too far away. We will save the response ID. We will check the option ID. We only want to be responding to the right thing. And we will clear the stored NPC name. Yeah, that seems all right. Okay. So, execute at S unless entity, any entity, type equals villager, tag equals ID, NPC, distance equals less than 3, we will return from this function. We will exit this function, but before we exit, we will run data remove from storage ID dialog NPC. We will remove the NPC name that we had stored. Now, if he is within range, we will save the response. Hang on. What we need to change here? Do we need to change anything? Yes. We don't want to tag ID here. Here we want to be, this should be a macro. We should be checking NPC. We should be checking current NPC. UI macro using data. Okay. Save the response ID. Execute, store, result. Into storage. Execute store result into storage. Our storage. Option. Response ID as an integer. Multiply it by 1. That's its scale. Run scoreboard. Players get at S. NPC option response. Check the option ID. Function NPC response ID match with storage dialog. Remove the stored NPC's name. Well, I think we've already done that at the top there. When we exit early, we removed it, and if we don't exit early, we want to remove it at the end. Yep, okay. So now what we want to do is check if the ID matches. So let's do that. This function here, ID match. Okay, what are we going to do in ID match? Well, first, if it doesn't match, we're going to exit the function. Exit if no match. No match. Exit if it doesn't match. If it does match, we will set the dialog progress. And if we've set the dialog progress, then we will call the initial NPC interact function. So let's do exit if it doesn't match. This is going to be using data. Let's do it without data, I think. Execute. Store result as a score. Temporary player. Temp ID check. There we go. That'd be your name. NPC option ID. Run data get from storage, my storage, Bob 0 dot option ID. Obviously it's not going to be Bob 0. We need to change that to our normal thing. We know the name is stored in NPC, and we know the current message or the player progress is stored in player progress. Option ID, that is right. You are unhappy because you don't know that you are using data. There we go. So we've got the ID. Execute unless score at S NPC option ID equals our fake player temp. What did I call you? Temp ID check. Your option ID, then we will return out the function, but before we return, we will run data remove from storage, our dialog, we will remove the NPC's name. Okay, if we made it this far, our IDs do match. We will set the dialog process. scoreboard, players, operation, add S, NPC, progress. Who are we talking to? Well, we're going to change this into a macro in a minute, but we'll say Bob equals at S NPC option response. Well, we don't want that to be Bob. Again, we need to use the variable NPC we've got. Bob, yes, you are using data. Have your little $sign. There we go. So we've clicked on the response. Let's say we clicked on no. It has changed our progress with Bob, let's say, or Julia, who we're talking to 3. Now let's call the NPC interact function again so it runs through the whole lot and displays the message from number 3. How on earth do I call this? I've forgotten. Execute at the player run function. It's in dialog controllers and it will be NPC interact as if we clicked on them. Save. Ooh, okay, let's look at our stored data. Storage data. So, Julahu. Providing our options are matching, which they all do. If I click on no, I should go to 3, and you should say that's a shame, and then to start looping again. If I click on 4, you should say great, and start looping again. Okay, let's do a little test for Julahu. Yes, we do need to reload. Brain freeze, and we'll do a reset. Don't think we needed to do that really, but we did it. Julahu, I am Julahu. Come on, fingers crossed. Are you busy? Would you like a quest? Yes or no? Okay. Well, I'm going to say no. Oh, that's a shame. And now if I click on you more times, can I click on this again? Yeah. Okay. I am Julahu. Are you busy? Would you like a quest? Yes, Julahu. Great. Okay, so we're jumping off and doing 2 different things there. And later on, in fact, this has taken long enough that we're going to do a part 3. In part 3, you'll be able to run a command. So if you said yes, it might say, okay, I'm going to run this function. Here's the key to let you into the secret tomb. If you say no, you might go, run a function to do instant damage. Oh, great, I'll punch you in the face. That's not very nice, Julahu. Don't do that. Okay, I'm just going to have a little look and check that I think we're pretty much finished with that component. That is the evil component. Let's pop over here. Yeah, okay, so we now have our option component and it's going to display a list. Let's do one little test actually here. Let's add a number 5. In fact, actually, let's do a completely different test. No, we'll just add 5. I was going to say let's add 1 to Bob, but let's not make it too confusing. Let's just copy this. We'll add a number 5. Number 5 will say, oh, looks. Oh, lordy. And we'll copy our options here. Let's grab ourselves an extra option. So we'll have, remember the last one is what gets displayed first. So let's put, I copied the wrong comma. This one is going to be go to 5, color gold, and kiss Julahu. Save that. Okay, back, reload. We definitely changed to setup data, so we'll certainly need a reset. Hi, Julahu. How are you? I'm Julahu. Are you busy? Would you like a quest? Yes, no, or kiss Julahu? Let's kiss Julahu. Look! Oh, lordy. Okay, so you can see now we've added all the stuff. Adding these options to jump around, very, very simple now. Okay, let's just remove that one because it's silly. Oh, no, let's leave it in. Why not? Poor Julahu, you might want a kiss. I don't know, they're androgynous, aren't they? So who knows? Okay, I think we have to leave that there. I didn't realise that this would take too long. I'll get out the next parts they will be nowhere near as complicated as this one was. Okay, let me go back here so I can do a bit of F5. Okay, I'll stand here. There we go. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, Julie. Oh, you can't. I made you silent. Right, I'll see you later. Take care. Cheerio. Bye-bye.